Hello my friends, if you like my work, please remember to click thumb up, subscribe to my channel or hit the notification bell to be informed about new videos. I'd just like to say thank you to all my patrons, please join them if you can, the link is in the description below. Today I am going to do a basic Sherman painting and put the first layer of mud. In general, nothing difficult, and today's episode will be quite short, but I hope you will find something interesting in it. I won't mention the fact that I usually disassemble the model into its first part, because if you've been watching my projects for some time, you know how I usually work. I glued two nuts to the inside of the hull and turret to tighten the large bolts as handles. Earlier I sanded one side so that the glue would bond better. As always, they will stay there permanently because there is no point in unstacking them. Of course it can be done using the bonder, but the question is, what for? As I mentioned in the previous episode, there is no antenna on the turret, but I bought the appropriate T-Rex set and now I can mount one element. The whole set will serve me for a long time if I build some American vehicles, and it's nice that there are bent elements here, which can be used to give the right look to the vehicle. Now that the glue has dried, I put the screws in and I have nice grips ready. As you can see, both elements are holding very well. Before I start painting, the whole model was cleaned with model degreaser. It was necessary, the more that I didn't plan to paint it with a primer. There was one reason. I was going to use Tamiya paints, so I was pretty sure that without the primer they would stick to the surface very well anyway. The whole procedure takes a few minutes and I can start painting. The product evaporates very quickly, so it has the advantage over washing the model with water and soap. As a base color I used olive drab, but I added a bit of lighter shade to it. That's the difference between the two colors. I put two thin layers on the entire model, which was enough to cover all the necessary surfaces. Looking for some modeling materials, I found masks for painting discolorations in my collection. As far as I remember, I bought them quite a long time ago, but completely forgot about them, so now is the perfect time to use them. For painting I used the base color without the addition of lighter shade. The effect is very nice. I did the same with a lighter shade. The most important thing is that the surface doesn't look too motley. Although on the one hand you have to remember that weathering will mitigate any painting effects quite effectively. Having the photo of the real vehicle, I have the impression that it's painted in a two-tone camo with black spots. I also looked at the instruction from the model and decided to do something similar. Of course, this is a free interpretation of both pictures and instructions, but I'm sure it will be interesting. To paint the black spots I used Natto Black. I painted all the spots without stencils. I did it pretty quickly because it wasn't too difficult. It's just as easy to join my group on Patreon, just check out the 7 days free trial and enjoy with the content. You can surf on my page with no limits, watch each episode with no adverts, download all superb high resolution pictures, watch progress shots, check stories with unpublished in other media's models, read the articles and enjoy other benefits. Just try for free, this way you can check whether you like what I publish for my patrons or not. And this is the perfect moment to say thank you to all my wonderful patrons. Please don't forget that you can be one of them. Okay, back to the content. To make some light shade on black I added neutral grey, applying it as a delicate discoloration on each stain. I used the rest of the paint to make some base color on the rubber tracks that I'm going to use in this project. Before I started painting the markings, I covered the places where they should appear with the chipping medium from VMS. For painting I used stencils from ET Model. They also got lost somewhere in my drawers and now I remembered that I have them. I once used them on my T29 and now they will be able to serve humanity again. The effect I wanted to achieve is a kind of imperfection which is perfectly visible when painting a star on the engine plate. I just wanted the paint to gently flow under the stencil. Yes, exactly, you heard it correctly. It adds realism in my opinion and looks great. And it's not my invention, but I've seen American markings painted like this with imperfections in some pictures from World War II. The vehicle is quite richly marked, but this is not a coincidence either, because if I take into account the further steps I intended to take with this model, their number will not be as visible as now before weathering. All markings have been properly treated with water and brush to activate the chipping medium and damage the paint in a controlled way. All in all, it was a very pleasant job and the results are very nice. Painting the details in this case was also not a rocket science. I used black and rubber black on the wheels and on the armament and on the spare tracks. Of course I added a bunch of other colors for details such as a board in the front, periscopes, lamps and others. I also painted elements polished by trucks. In the photo the tank looks freshly damaged, so there is no rust on it. I want to do the same on this model. I brightened up some elements on the whole model using a light shade of green. It was a good move because it adds some lights to the overall look. In addition I used a proven trick and painted the screw heads and a few small elements silver. The weld lines have also been slightly brightened. At the end I painted the silver stripe on the barrel. Earlier I masked this part with tape. I didn't want to do it with airbrush out of sheer laziness. That's why I used the brush and after removing the tape I gently sanded the edge of the color. This way the model is completely ready to start weathering, which I plan to show you in the next episode. Now before I finish, the last thing I did in this session. I covered the surface of the diorama with first layer of matte and to be precise with the VMS product with a cool name Smart Matte. It's very interesting product, quite dry and not too sticky, but enough to apply it on the surface and leave it to dry. As I said, the first layer is the base for the second, where I will form the final look based on the photo. But before I start doing it, I need to prepare the model and details that will make the background. I'm talking about some remnants of the crew's equipment and tank elements scattered around. In addition, I planned the figures, so they also need to be at least pre-prepared for their places. Well, that's all in the next episode. I hope you are interested and I will see you next week. Now take a look at how cool this product is. You can clearly see how it behaves when I hold it in my fingers and how easy it is to remove it with an ordinary piece of paper tissue. That's what I did, removing the remains from the walls of the diorama, which was trivial now, but after drying it could be much more difficult. That's all for today, see you next time, cheers!